Good morning. Got a new mug for early morning coffee talk. Thought that was pretty perfect. Today is January 3rd. It's the first video of 2019, so if it's your first time to early morning coffee talk, welcome. I'm Stephanie Ackerman. I'm in my kitchen because right now it's 37 degrees in Southern California. It's 6 o'clock in the morning. You might hear the dog snoring. The laundry is going and the heater is on, so background noise. I'm going to talk to you today about surrender because that's the first word of Documented Faith 2019, and so I'm going to talk about a few things. I wrote it down. Okay, so we have habits, changes, surrender, and spiritual fitness. And because this is only about 7 minutes, I'm going to talk fast. So, habits, because it's a new year and everybody is blowing up social media about change, and habits and new things. And while that's good that you want to change, I learned Pastor Tom at church last week said, if you want 2019 to be different, you're going to have to be different. You can't just enter into a new year, like show up, here I am, and not make changes so that those changes become new habits. So I wrote down habit. Don't resist something. Like if you want to stop eating sugar, don't just resist it. If you want to stop drinking, don't just resist it. If you want to stop procrastinating, I don't know if that makes sense. Don't just resist it, because procrastinating is resistance. But what I'm saying is, don't resist something, replace it. So often I think we think, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop eating sugar. And you just think you're going to just stop it without replacing it with something else. So habits, write this down. I gotta put my glasses on. Okay, I'm not the boss of you, but I suggest you write this down, okay? Habits, don't resist something, replace it. Okay, next one, change. We all want change. We want to change whatever it is we want to change. But we have to work at it. And just like I've learned with Revelation Wellness and with my own Daily 5, in order to change something, you have to work at it. You have to show up. You have to figure out what's not working and change it. That kind of goes with habit. And change comes from the inside out. You can change your clothes and you'll look different, but you're still the same on the inside. You can change, well, I don't know what my example is. I think you know what I mean. You can change your attitude for a moment, but until you change your mind thought, your attitude's going to be the same. Okay, so that's change. So write down the word change. Comes from the inside out. Okay, the next one, surrender, which is the first word for Documented Faith January, and that's to relinquish something. And you have to surrender over and over and over. It's not a one-time deal. That'd be really easy, but then we need it constantly. And so when you are going to surrender something, remind yourself that God is in control. So when you're surrendering all of your things to God, He's already in control. We just forget to remember that we're not in control. He is, no matter what. So remember that. Write that down. Surrender. Remind yourself that God is in control. Okay, last one, spiritual fitness. And that kind of goes along with daily 5 a little bit. My daily 5 are eat, sleep, move, pray, create, as you probably know. If your 5 are my 5, that's great. If you have a different 5 or you have 6, that's great too. But for spiritual fitness, because I'm working in all the fitness into my life, I want to have a strong soul, a strong heart, a strong body, and a strong mind, because I want to be fit to serve, to do whatever God has planned for me to do. And so by having a strong heart, soul, mind, and body, all of that together creates a strong faith, or builds on a strong faith. And so for spiritual fitness, write this down. I want you to look up 1 Timothy 4, verses 7 and 8. And so those are some things you can write in your journal, write down in a planner, write down on a paper, just some things to kind of kick off for 2019. So that's my outline of this morning. I thought it was pretty planny with my little notes, because usually I don't make notes. I just like kind of show up and just kind of blurt it out. But I thought if I had a little bit of a plan, and that comes from God. Seriously, before I do this, I just pray, give me the words, give me the direction. One other thing I want to read to you is from the book Free of Me, which I am on the last chapter. This book I would suggest getting. Very good. So I want to read this highlighted, another heavily highlighted book. But I wanted to read this because maybe this will go in line with what I was talking about. Whenever you feel like a failure or a hack, whenever you worry that you're not a good enough parent or a spouse, whenever you fear you're not enough or that you can't keep up with it all, there is a sense in which God responds, yep, that's true. And this is amazingly good news, which we don't think of it as being good news. You can be a failure. You can be not enough. And then you can stop trying to make yourself big enough or capable enough to carry the weight of the world, because God did not create you to do that. Your shoulders will never be broad enough, and your back will never be strong enough. Once you realize that, and here's the key, once you run smack up against the wall of your own limitations, it's a mercy from God. That's when you finally taste the freedom of no longer striving, of no longer trying to be what only God can be. That's good. That's on page 175. So again, this book, Free of Me, Sharon, I think it's Hodde Miller, another heavily highlighted book for me. So one to get on Amazon and get. So happy first week of 2019. Happy first early morning coffee talk. And I will see you next week.